Earlier today, I saw two chairs out on the side of someone's curb, and I thought to myself that those are some nice chairs. I could probably redo them. So if they're still there when hubby got home with the truck, I was gonna go get them. And guess what, guys? They're still there. Totally about to snag those. What?
Baby, open up to me. Don't give up so easy.
Today is the day we tackle these beauties. I know they don't look beautiful now, but I mean, can you see the potential? I didn't like, and I'm not a big fan of like rattan wicker style stuff, so I would have taken it off anyways. I kind of like the open exposed there, so I'm super excited to show you guys how these little ugly trash finds can turn into beautiful treasures, especially when you're working with stuff that is solid wood. Now I can see that there's a little bit of a separation there, so I'm going to make sure to put some wood glue, re-adhere that, and make sure that these are really solid pieces so that nobody falls or gets hurt. But yeah, so lots of reinforcement going to be done. If you can see under there, it's still in excellent shape. This one still has the matting underneath protecting it, so we'll pull off the rest of that, and I'll replace that with actual fabric that matches this because I kind of like that look better. So yeah, I'm gonna pull these down and get started. Alright guys, so on a project like this, one of the first things that you want to do is look at how where you want to get started. So what I like to do is actually take photos of everything beforehand, and then as I am taking things off, the process of taking things off, I watch those steps, and then I'm going to do that in reverse. So whatever is on the outermost side was probably what was put on last. Whatever is on the inside or innermost portion of a project is probably what was done first. So I kind of do like a backward step as I undo. I'm like, that's the last step, and then I do the next step, and then the next step, and then I'll order those, so in the back, when I'm going back and doing it, I do it in that order. So for instance, this is a detail piece here. This is on the outside of this. Sorry for background noise, hold on. Okay, so for example, this is on the outside of this, meaning this piece was put on after this piece. So this was put on first, and then this came after as a detail. So let's look at how they put this on. So original from the store, this was hot glued. Interesting. Okay, I have piping stuff so that I can do this here too. So I will indeed do a piping strip around there. And then they used this old foam, which actually looks like from inside like bedding. Interesting. I might replace that with more modern. So, okay, so see, now we're looking at, this was the third step, second step, first step, but maybe we can keep going and see what's underneath. If you look here, they didn't use any kind of backing to go to the other side here. This was the last part. So we have 4 steps now. We've reversed into 4 steps. We started with 1, then we moved on to 2, which was, so here was the first step, right? Second step to pull off, third step to pull off, and this will be the 4th step to pull off. So when we're putting it back on, this will be our first step to put back on, second step, and then we'll do a 3rd step, and then we'll cover up and add our detail trim around the edging for that. So I'm going to be doing piping, but I'm also going to be covering up here. And so I think I could put in a new piping strip, but I'm also going to be using some nail head trim because you guys voted on Instagram, and I'll show you guys that poll here now so you can see. It was a battle for a while on the fabric choices. I let you guys choose. It came down to the top 2, and then it got really close for a while, so I actually decided to wait and see if it would get a little bit more further along, and it has. So here was the final results. This was the fabric choice with the detail you guys chose, so that's what I'm going to do here. As far as what color and stuff goes, I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of still deciding if I'm going to go with dark color, and that will depend on if I can strip and get all this off. As you can see here, it looks like a nice wood. If I can get it off here, I might stain it a nice color, like a dark wood color, and then add that and leave these as a very nice, posh, very prestigious looking set, because this here and this is just kind of bringing me down. You know, it doesn't make it look posh and expensive. It just looks meh. So let's see if we can make these look more expensive than they were brand new. So moving on to like the bottom portion, we'll do that the same way we did the top. You'll start by taking off the outermost layer. Then we'll look at what was the next layer. Like here, for instance, this was over this. So now I know this piece needs to go on before I put this piece on when I'm redoing it. So just like little tips like that are why I like to either record or take photographs of the steps as I'm undoing them in every little step. And if, for instance, I see that there's hot glue, I'll make a note that this was hot glued. If I see that here it's stapled, I want to make a note that this portion was stapled on, and then this was put, and then this. So as you see here, there's two sets of staples. So when I pulled this layer out, it pulled one out, and then there's one here. So they stapled one row was for here, then this was applied and held there, and probably used maybe some fabric glue or something to hold it on and smooth. And then they put this piece and stapled the second row, either on top or right below, which is why they then went over it with this piece, as you can see here, and hot glued it to it so it covers up those staple details so that it's not noticeable. Okay, so that's the reasoning behind each thing and why we're doing it, just so you know. Here, where this portion, it looks like it must have busted through or something, and so they just decided to pull it off, and which I'm actually grateful they did one of them for me already. So I was going to and had the idea to remove this anyways because I just don't like it. I'm not that big of a wicker fan. So I want to take this out. So this is going to be an outer layer. I'm just going to rip right through it. Okay, so sorry. Got that done. Just take everything off here. You see that this was put on underneath something here, and it looks like they sort of beveled out this little area to put this piece in. I'm gonna get some pliers, pull that out. That'll be a step, and then I'm just gonna keep track of the steps as I'm doing this and undoing it, so that we know how to put it all back on. Anyways, so the point of getting footage and doing and undoing different parts of this and making sure you're doing it in the right process is because it doesn't matter what type of chair, what type of upholstery it is, as long as you take the steps off in like that order and keep track of how it came off and what was underneath what layer, you can go back, reverse those steps, and just redo the same thing. You look at the supplies that they used. That's how I reupholstered my first chair. I took the first one apart and I looked at what it was. I didn't have any idea what the stuff was called, so I just kept typing upholstery names until I saw the item that I had removed off of it and found out what it was, and I was like, okay, so I need that. I need a tack strip. I need like things like that. And so those little details are what I recommend, because this chair might be different from the chair you're thinking of reupholstering, and you're like, well, no, this isn't going to help me. Well, as long as you're doing it reverse, you can look up just various words until you find the name of something, or you can take a photo of it and take it to a local hardware store and ask somebody what it's called if they have it, or go to like a upholstery center, or look up an upholstery site and just look at all the equipment like I did and see until you find. I just literally went through thousands of photos, I think, until I found what it was called, because I didn't think it was going to be called a tack strip for upholstery. because tax, I don't know, just wasn't what I was thinking. So just something to take note of. Something else to take note of on pieces like this are the corners of these chairs. You see here how this one is nicely folded like that? I actually do like how they did that. So that's something I want to take note of now here. So that when I go to redo it with the new fabric, which we have chosen, I'm going to fold that over too, because I think that is a nice and posh look. Alright, time to get these puppies stripped down, cleaned, sanded, and ready. So, to take note, this was stapled in and then hot glued also. Looks like they stapled it in and probably lifted under and hot glued under there, in my opinion, based on the way it looks. Or they hot glued it and then did a couple of staples underneath for good measure. Vice versa. See, that's where we can't be sure, but we can test it out on one or the other and see which one works better, and then we'll know probably which one they ended up doing. And as you'll notice, it is done on all of the pieces. And I'm sitting in the other chair, so I'm at least testing out its stability. If it breaks while I'm sitting in it, well, toodaloos to that one. Wow, look how good that seating is in. I don't speak too soon. There's not even a stain on it. Wow. I've never seen anything like that. Any chair I've ever redone, you could see the stains right through it. That's impressive. Wow. Huh. Cool. So, I don't think I'm gonna have to spend any money on batting. One down. Time to go. I'm beginning to think this has been redone before. Are you seeing this? Huh. I was wrong. Somebody has redone this chair before. So this will be a thrice loved seat. How exciting! Wow. Honestly, to think that somebody else, that probably makes sense. That's probably why I have it. Oh. That's so cool. To think that somebody else has been re-inspired by this piece before. Also, if you're ever in a bad mood and you need to get some sort of suppressed anger out, there's nothing quite like ripping up, tearing up, gutting, you know, taking some stuff out. Yesterday and I took apart most of it, got all the old fabric off of it, and then today what we're going to be doing is just stripping down some of the paint. I got some paint thinner here. I couldn't find my mineral spirit, so we're going to just see what I can get off here. I might just put a little bit on it, let it soak on for a while, and come back and try to scrape bits and bobs of it off. And then we're going to stain it in a darker shade. So I picked up the stain in walnut because I wanted to have a darker finish for this go around. So we're going to do that. In case you're wondering, so that's the goal for that. Then I picked up my fabric yesterday, and while I was at it, I picked up some foam back pieces. But last night while I was sleeping, I got kind of inspired. I woke up in the middle of the night. I started just looking at different chairs that were fully upholstered all around the back side here. And I'm thinking about actually doing that and then putting the nail head trim just around that border there, leaving this top portion exposed here, exposed. But anyway, so this would go here. I have other pieces that I could use for those side panels there to wrap it around. And yeah, I think that's gonna be our game plan here for this project. And you guys voted on Instagram for what you wanted for the fabric. So if you're ready, drum rolls please, what did you go with? We're going with the same fabric that I had done for my headboard. Now, I'm not trying to kill my back by bending over to do these projects, so I'm going to bring the project up to me, which I recommend you do the same if you can, to get some more of that gunk out of there. Let me go grab my got our handy dandy toolkit here, which I love this thing, use it for everything. I'm going to take these pliers, start pulling this gunk and staples out. In case I haven't made it crystal clear, what I'm doing here is I am stripping these chairs of all of the old staples, old fabric, old glue, and then what I did is I had tried to put some thinner on there and I let it sit for quite a while. Then I tried to scrape it off. I put more on, let that sit for hours, tried to scrape it off, and then it still didn't work. So as you'll see here, as I'm like pulling all of the gunk and grime and all that stuff off, I make several attempts to try to scrape it all off, and then I just go into sanding. I kind of get to a point where I realize I'm just going to do the best that I can to sand and smooth everything off, to really just prep these the best that I can. At the end, I'm faced with a decision to either buy mineral spirits, because I couldn't find mine, which was actually located right behind me on a lower shelf of a rack of something that I was doing a different project on before, but let's not talk about that. I'm quite upset about it looking back, seeing that it was just back there the whole time. But anyways, what I ended up deciding was that I didn't want to spend any more money in this project. I really wanted to keep this at minimal cost, and so in the next video, when I'm actually putting the fabric on the chair, I will break down the cost of everything and what this transformation ended up coming out to be, with fabric, supplies, and then separately if you need tools or to invest in tools, that would be like separate costs. But if you have already, like say, staple gun, hot glue gun, and possibly a sewing machine for piping, then you're all good to go. All you need is a little bit of fabric and possibly whatever details and stuff you're working with. But again, I will break down those costs in the second half or second portion of this video. This one is going to be broken down into 2 episodes. This episode is prepping and gutting and getting the chairs ready for the transformation in the new fabric and paint or stain, whatever ends up happening. And then the next video will be actually putting the fabric on. I have 2 chairs, so I will do 2 demonstrations for you. You'll get the first one where I kind of go through and give you the explanation, and then the second chair, I'm kind of going through it a little bit more faster, but showing details up close and reiterating the steps and the process that I went through. So anyways, I'm sorry for the long rant. I just wanted you to understand what I was doing and why I was spending so much time prepping these chairs. You'll see that it took several days to prep, as far as gutting, attempting to put the thinner and strip the paint off, coming down to sanding and all that, and then even applying the fabric took a couple of days in itself. So all of the costume changes, that's why. All right, anyways, I'm done rambling. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video.
Baby, open up to me. Don't give up so easily. Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging on.
About halfway through every project I do, I'm ready to give up. So once I get over this hump and figure out what I'm gonna do next, I'll be ready to move on. Pretty sure I'm just gonna end up painting it black though, guys. Now, what kind of black? I don't know. Either I get mineral spirits, remove it, and then stain it, or... Alright. I'm not gonna say I'm defeated, but this stuff doesn't want to come off with just the sander. So I'm exhausted already. Okay. So what you're seeing here is coming up on the end of me prepping the second chair. I did a lot of my experimenting on one chair, and that was with like all the thinner and everything and scraping, trying to get all the paint off. And then once I made my decision on what I was going to do with the actual chairs, I just went ahead and prepped the second chair. You want to do the same thing, gut and get everything off of here and get your surface as smooth as possible. Make sure you wipe down and get any of the dust off after sanding also, because you don't want that underneath any of your paint or stain or anything of the sort. Alright guys, I think it is time for coffee, and then to decide whether or not we are going to do black paint or get mineral spirits and try to stain it. For now, I need coffee.
Baby, open up to me. Don't give up so easily. Open up your eyes and see. There's more to our story. easily.